She's whistling a melody, her trusty contact mic attached to a wooden pulpit. At the sound of your footsteps, she stops what she was doing and turns to you.
Hey there. I've been recording some new audio from all these beams and rafters. The sounds travelling through the wood are pretty cool. Creaks and stuff. Like you're underwater, you know? But like, underwater inside a tree. And yes, I'm being more like Contact Mike, alright? Don't even bring it up. No, I actually wanted to thank you for getting me and my friends in here. And we even found some new associates, such as they are. Good, I think. Noid is getting a read on the place. I think he finds the carpentry very impressive. Andre's been setting up the compressor and dancing. Egghead's been keeping the party up. He's got the stage under control. Sauna, the programmer, she's doing whatever she does behind that radio computer of hers. She doesn't talk to us much, and the crab man hasn't shown himself, thank God. No.
Just no?
It's pretty desolate here. I only hear the dogs bark at night and see the shadows move down the coast. Exactly. It's our chance to turn the grim desolation into an overwhelmingly fun dance party. Sure. You helped us out. I can repay the favour. What do you want to know? Ah, she's a bit odd, I have to say. Doesn't talk much. I'm not really sure how to vibe with her, you know? Seems like she's not in a very good mood most of the time. But earlier today she told me about Welkins, and she seemed oddly happy, like she had some idea with those little creatures. Some artistic idea. I didn't really listen, I was busy with my mic. Oh, the crab man. Still gives me the creeps the way he moves. But he doesn't actually come down that much, just climbs around the rafters. I just tried to stay away from the crab man, but he talks to Noid. They seem to have some thing going on. Beats me. Noid said they get along somehow. They're both crazy enough, I guess. Who knows? He doesn't really answer our questions, see? Not that it's easy to ask them. What are we supposed to do, yell up at the tower? Who do you want to know about? Andre. He's a cool guy. Doesn't really come off as one, but he is. To me, at least. He takes care of shit. Sorry. I mean, he's got a vision. For what life should be, you know? He tries to push things until everything falls into place. He's an organiser. Nothing. But then again, there's nothing to organise around here either. He really wants this church thing to work. Must have taken it as a sign when he found it abandoned like that. Said it was an augury. I don't know where he got that from. Andre's not super intelligent. I've never seen him so psyched about anything though. And he's often psyched. Looks sort of desperate, like it's his last chance or something. Or maybe he was just high. I mean, not that he does drugs, just high, you know. Yes. Anyway. Yes. Who do you want to know about? He's a four-burger, I guess, like the rest of us. Okay, maybe not Egg, I don't know about him, but Noid and the rest are from Forberg, making the pilgrimage up north to visit the Elysium. He's real hardcore about the lifestyle. What do you mean, do? Like, for a living? He's a carpenter, trained and all. He's very good, he just doesn't have the mindset to work like that, in a shop somewhere. Wow, you really have talked to him. Indeed, Noid serves no master but the beat. Sir, I abide by the law.
A strange feeling. Like before, when you caught her lying better than she should have. Every now and then, something feels off about the way she speaks. She doesn't exactly change tone, but you feel as though there's more about her than she lets on.
It's just something poor Forberg kids do every spring. To pass the time, we walk the entire length of Boogie Street, up to Jamrock, or as much as possible. I don't know, man. Have you been down Boogie Street? It's a little bewildering. Okay, then you should go and take a look, I guess. Boogie Street is cool. It's got a lot of immigrants and all kinds of different people. Yeah, I hope you do. Who do you want to know about? What do you mean? Oh, that. He's the party boy. And Nordic music doesn't really do vocals in the traditional sense. Vocals are thought of as rock. That's to say they're a bit backward. No offence if you like rock music though. Rock music's cool by me.
Pachoo, swish. Your credentials as the resident future man of Revachol are being questioned. Show her you're hip with the times, Gramps.
Yes, forever. Anyway, even if you don't have vocals, you still need someone to say something every now and then, right? To urge things on. That's where the party boy comes in. He basically just stands on the stage and dances and yells how awesome everything is. It's very catchy.
I understand. People are usually afraid to do things if others aren't already doing them. Dancing makes you dance, like sneezing makes you sneeze, or yawning makes you... Anyway.
Actually, we don't know where he's from, or who he is, really. One time we were out partying somewhere in backwater Forburg. Or maybe even Coal City, I can't remember. Maybe it was Coal City. Egg was yelling along to some jam someone was spinning, all night long. Just kept yelling until he didn't have a shred of voice left. When the sun came up over the mines. There were mines? Yeah, it was in Coal City. Egg came with us. He made this wheezing puppy dog sound all the way back. Couldn't even speak. It was definitely Coal City, because it took us 2 days to walk back to the fort. He just wheezed the whole way. We never really asked why he came with us, or who he was. I think his name is Jermaine. People are sweet.
You can see it must have been a great night. The memory causes her to go silent for a moment or two. You wish you'd been there.
Who do you want to know about? Me? Again? I told you, I'm a silver bird.
There's that phrase again. Really reminds you of something.
It means I don't answer questions about myself. All right. There is. Is there a law that would stop me from lying, though?
That would depend on the circumstances.
Thank you. Sure.
O pasaro de agint. It flutters by your ear. It's what the Zemoyaki, the Gradian community in Revachol, call a person who never breaks under interrogation. It's an organized crime term.
Excuse me?
She's attempting to remain calm, but the phrase made her flinch.
What do you mean? All right. My father was a Zemyaki. He died years ago. He was a bad man. Not a lot of good things to say about him and what he did. He bought the family a huge house, so we got to live, at least temporarily, in a giant castle in Jamrock. And then he died. What do you think? The competition came and took everything away. It was like in a war zone. So after his death, we had nothing left, and we were in danger. My mother had to change her name, mine too. We left it all behind. It was a stupid idea, and I'm still disappointed I came up with it.
Aren't there any local authorities who might look down on such activities?
I took that into account, of course. Coordinated the operation with the débardeurs, else they might get unhappy. Not in person, but I let them know. You can't do anything without the fat ones getting wind. It wasn't too difficult to convince them, really. It's a good thing you ended that mess, though. I felt I was turning Dadwise into a corrupt business person. Unpleasant.
Hear that? Set justice on its feet. Confront Everard. Come on, this is all fine. But you don't have anything on Everard now. That's not how these things work.
No, I don't think it would lead anywhere with Everard. He's just going to deny it.
Yeah.
Have you seen Everard?
Some kind of superstar. They say the world isn't ready for a rock and roll cop. No one wants their state monopoly on violence to be mixed with celebrity worship. They claim to know it would be dangerous for detectives to rise to the ranks of demigods and have sexual encounters with barely legal cover girls. It would be insane, they say. To all this, you say, fuck off and die, in a cool voice. You people have no idea how good these cops are gonna get. They're gonna crack 20 cases a day. In the future, cops will be like astrophysicists, or prime ministers, or prophets. And you're the first one. The light vanishes inside the concrete slit. The structure goes deep under the earth. Maybe it's just a storm drain for the sewer.
No idea. Could be connected to one of the buildings around here. We might find her down somewhere. There's an old storm drain system beneath Martinez that's mostly collapsed. Revachol sewage system has been built and rebuilt 4 or 5 times now. In conclusion, she could be under any building. I hope not.
There's no echo and no answer. The trap stands empty near the reeds. No insect sounds or movement around. Only the reeds' apprehensive hissing. Rain drips from the mesh of the trap. The locusts, dazed from being transported, slowly begin to acclimate to their new surroundings. They're not really going to get the chance to get comfortable here.
Good, now that's done. When do you think we will return to our impending apocalypse of a murder investigation? Don't answer that. It was a rhetorical question.
He doesn't want to, but if there is one more cryptozoological runaround, he must force the investigation back on track. This better be it.
Hello, dear. It's good to see a familiar face. Thank you for doing that, dear.
Her smile is weary. Her earlier ebullience has left her.
Morel still isn't feeling well. I convinced him to stay at Gary's to get some rest. I'm afraid the cold has really gotten to him. Yes, field work is a young person's game, as they say.
Her voice is shaky. What is going on here?
Morel will eventually, or we'll talk Gary into going back out, perhaps.
The lieutenant stares at his shoe, caked in mud. He doesn't say anything.
No, you don't have to do that. Enough of this fool's errand. Morel will do it. Or Gary. You have work to do. I've wasted enough of everyone's time.
Be real. Gary is not going to help with this.
That really is too much, sweetie. Thank you for your dedication, but I can see you're coming down with a cough yourself.
Very strange. Why is she not letting you do this? It's like she's given up.
Different? How?
Answering a question with a question, for example. Defensive isn't her usual style.
I'm in doubt, sweetie. That's all. Everyone is now and then. It's a strange feeling. I haven't really told this to anyone, but you are a police officer.
And when a police officer asks, you must answer.
Do you ever wonder if some lovely story from your childhood is just that? A story? Or a dream? Seeing the Insulindian phasmid was just a story I used to tell people. I didn't really think about whether it was real or not. Morel's so proud of it. He always tells everyone.
A terrible sting in the heart. Regret.
No, at least I don't think I did, but Morel was so eager to believe my story was evidence of the phasmid's existence. That I'm some queen of the cryptozoologists. That. And for years, his belief made me believe too.
That I am a queen? An extraordinary witness to grace.
But now, we're both getting old, and he's still working himself sick out in those reeds looking for it. But what if I was just wrong? I think I was.
The lieutenant opens his notebook, but doesn't write anything. An acorn is not the same as the tree. That requires time, diligence, and care. All qualities these two seem to share in abundance.
But it is. We've spent years searching for the phasmid, hunting it together. Without it, what are we? Just another pathetic old couple. If I hadn't led him down this path, he could have a steady job lecturing at a university. But if the dream comes to naught, what good is it? No, the thing is, I was a paraplegic before we met. He didn't know before I arrived, on our first date. If I weren't the queen of the cryptozoologists, if I didn't tell him that story...
She has to swallow to relax her throat. It's keeping her from talking.
Maybe. But then why do I not dare tell him? I've wasted enough of your time with this drama. I really must stop talking about it lest I start crying and waste more of your time. What you have to know is the Insulindian phasmid probably does not exist. Let us fools chase our ghosts. There are a million better things to do with your life.
Are there? Some of the other things are pretty bad.
A true believer. Sometimes I still see it too. The real memory of it, how it was there. Not the memory of the memory, but it's so hard to tell the two apart.
Rising, unfolding from the reeds on a hot summer's day, like a benevolent god.
Either way, I should go. Poor Morel is running a fever, and I need to get him home to Jamrock before we overstay our welcome with Gary. Oh no, thank you, but I can get there on my own. This old thing is gas-powered. And then a taxi home. It's not so bad.
Really?
Oh, sweetie. Please don't get stuck on a dream. Take it from me and Morel. Okay, it's 1113 Tabernacle Road. Jamrock, but...
A sigh. She doesn't think you'll need it.
You too, sweetie. Thank you for everything, truly. Even though it turned out to be a
waste of time. A dream. A lie. A fool's hope. Say her lips moving in silence. Like that, she drives off. The gas tank sputters quietly as she gets to the doors, then pushes them open. Outside, it's raining.
We should go too.
Somewhere out there, a kilometer to the southeast, a gust of wind shakes the felled building, rattling dusty windows, beckoning with strange coldness. To ask the wind once more.
Mr. Dubois, the word in Martinez is a certain police officer is once again happily reunited with his service weapon. Congratulations, my friend. I prefer my police officers old-fashioned like that, with a gun. You can do so many things with a gun that you can't do without one. Now, what can I help you with? My. She's quite the looker, Harry. You can't imagine how pleased I am the two of you are reunited. Tell me, was it difficult to convince the pigs to give it up? I knew you could handle it. I know my special policeman. Anyway, I'm glad you're all right and armed again, Harry. Now, what can Everard Clare do for you? I don't know what that means, Harry, but I love it. I love your initiative. Knowing you're out there keeping things running lets me focus on the big picture stuff. Don't even tell me what was going on. Alcoholic brew, stronger, stopped it, strike. I'm just going to let you surprise me, Harry. Funny. That doesn't ring any bells, Harry.
Funny. She was trying to set up a narcotics operation in the old church on the coast.
Oh, that a Sal. Yes, I do seem to remember sending a pretty young thing down there to liven up the place. Get some melodic music in there. Amphetamine lab? That sounds very immoral and debauched. Frankly, a health risk. But what do I know about kids these days? The music they listen to, the drugs they do while they listen to that music.
It sounds to me like you are trying to start an amphetamine lab in the district. And you're using some delinquents you found, God knows where, to set it up and run it for you.
Found God knows where? That Acel is the daughter of Miko the kebab, a man who once killed a guy with a kebab. I think a daughter of a man who killed a man with a kebab can handle running a little nightclub, don't you? Maybe it was Bogovir. Or Jakub. I think it might have been Conrad. A nightclub? Harry, I'm an old-fashioned guy. After work, I like to listen to some rock and roll music and have a non-alcoholic lager. Nightclubs don't interest me. But here I am, talking about myself, when you have much more important things going on. Tell me, Harry, how can I help you? Ah, yes, your side investigation. Thank you. You've got some spirit clearing up phony drug accusations alongside this murder. I'll talk to the mayor and see if I can get you the key to the city, Harry. Now let's talk real business.
He refuses to discuss it further. It's probably just a small nuisance to him. Not even a speck of anger in his voice. That's that then.
Right to work! Right to work! Shame on you!
Hell no. I'm just an honest scab. I won't have talk like that around here. You understand?
It just has to be said. That was not a convincing line.
Fucking loincloth.
Loincloth? Now you see, that's not really what a scab would say, is it? Better not to press the issue further, sire. He seems tense. The man's breathing steadies, but his eyes are still narrow. Slowly, he's trying to get his right-to-work dance back on.
Don't think so.
Suddenly, this feels like a really, really bad idea. Silence. He takes the photo. Grey eyes dart back and forth on the glossy surface. His face is unmoving, hard as a stone. But beneath it, you see dead flesh in colorful rivers of polychrome, melting skin and hair.
Fucking loincloths. Really did him in. Yeah. What it means.
In what must have been Semonine.
I can tell you what this one means. Only one. You want to hear what happened here? Our colonel is deep in the bush here. Deep in the fucking bush. In Benital, 41. Monsoon season. He's on a reconnaissance mission. He spent a month behind enemy lines, scouting kept villages. Nothing but fucking bugs and snakes for fun. Men are getting restless. There's talk of switching employers.
With some strange emotion, this is about to get really graphic. Last moment to back off.
Our boy, he's only a captain then, but he knows how these men think. If they don't see action soon. At dawn, he comes upon two kids, breeding in the bushes by the river. Or maybe they weren't breeding. Maybe they were just making eyes at each other. I like to think they were breeding. We shot the boy. He was useless, but the girl, she was nice. A little fat, you know, but not too old. She was quite the entertainment for the week she lasted. Expired in the hands of Sarge Mason, the kind of guy who'd make Chief there shit his pants and cry like a bitch. God, Mason couldn't let go. Cut the tits off her cold body and fucking ate them. Said primitive spirits were watching over him now. Drowned in a creek a week later. Spirits my ass.
Something stirs in your stomach. The story must have stirred up some conflicting emotions. The man looks tired for a second. There's a word on the tip of your tongue. Colorless, odorless, It's...
You bet it was. It's just nature. This guy, he used to say evil is when nature and spirit meet in the wrong place. No, I was somewhere else. That's just a guess as to what this one little star on his belly might mean. I'm just a bouncer. Fucking mask is getting sweaty. I want to take my mask off. But
He's under orders, and orders are orders.
go ahead.
All right now. Free commerce! Keep the goods flowing!
On the photo in your hands, the dead man's skin is studded with stars. Tens, hundreds of them, littering his dead skin. Bad news. Guillaume Le Million did not become a cop. In 38, he went on a tour to the Sinyao province in Safre, where he died of autoerotic asphyxiation. His body was found hanging from a decorative dragon tree in his junior suite amid drug paraphernalia, unwholesome objects, and the Sylvia Trainer single Wonderland skipping in the background. And yes, you can take this as a metaphor for Revachol in the 30s, and also as a warning.
We're close. True, hard, full, core. Hardcore. Hardcore to the mega. Internally coherent. All core. All right. Yeah.
He furrows his brow as his very large head traces the sublime invisible movement of the music in the very real air of the church.
Hardcore. Ah. Is it though? But is it? I mean, really? No, but seriously, I'm a bit worried it isn't.
The skin on your back is crawling. For a second, you can't even hear the music anymore. There is a hawthorn tree on Rue de Saint-Ghislain, right next to the canal. Don't be alarmed. Everything is okay. He isn't actually worried. Everything is still super hardcore. What he probably means is, it could be even more so.
To the mega! Yeah! I can route it through auxiliary. What kind of a cable does she use? 3.5 or 4.5? Oh, she uses 3.5. Yeah. The auxiliary lining is 4.5 millimeter. These two don't mix.
Oh no, we're going to be in this church forever.
Don't worry, I have an adapter for it right here. Hang on, this is a 4.5. We're all good, people!
Whoa, thank God. Adapters noticeably degrade the sound quality.
Great! Someone got through to him. Okay, let's get it all set up. Can we turn the music off, please?
Everybody! Everybody! Don't panic! I'm going to turn off the Arno for just a sec. For a special scheduled event. The Arno will be back, but we're doing something else for one moment. All right, go tell her that Egghead is ready to rave to her tunes, and then I'll turn off the music. Yeah! Back on the case, no disgrace. Bring it down to party place. The first page of the second chapter.
Could it be? Maybe for him, you only have a chapter or two left in you. Last of the penultimate, more like.
There's nothing wrong with it. I'm still in love with the hardcore. Sometimes I just feel like anodic music is in its infancy, you know? For example, take this Arno van Eyck jam I've been pumping for the last months, and will continue pumping for the rest of 51. Isn't something holding it back from being hyper? It's like it's only ultra.
I think it's super hardcore, but you're right. It's not hyper hardcore.
The young man looks at you reverently, as if observing the judgment inside your head, growing, taking form. His friend drops his loitering act and turns toward you two. He, too, waits for your judgment with undivided attention. If anything, it sounds a bit proto. like it's not fully formed yet. You might be a moribund alcoholic and a failed cop, but you are pretty certain a thing cannot be both proto and hardcore.
Fuck yeah! I knew it!
He seems sure, but you are left with the nagging doubt you might have overestimated the hardcoreness of that jam.
No nation, but transnation! No war, but class war!
Don't be a lunatic. Of course he isn't. Jermaine here just yells random things. Odds are, sooner or later one of them will come off as fault reading.
Yeah! Revolution imperative!
Unless you were thinking Revolution imperative right now. Anyway, I've had a similar thing happen with Eggs yelling. I know what you mean.
Hardcore superstar!
He's not a communist. It's just something he likes to yell. He picked it up from a tape jockey at the Elysium. She was a communist, though.
Yeah! With a rebel yell! Yeah! Dark Code Hardcore! Jermaine Egghead!
Basically, yes it is.
Lungs are for love! When Dolores Day was anointed innocence, her lungs started glowing through her body. For the world loved her, and she loved it back. Yeah!
Why wouldn't they be? Are the lungs not the place where you hold the breath of your soul?
I think so.
But that's what everybody saw. Explain it as you please. But it doesn't really do to just deny it ever happened.
All right! Here comes the night!
Yes, what is it? Okay, but think you can ask him to turn the volume down a bit? Just in case.
Maximum! Maximum is the only way!
I know it is, but could you please turn it down just this instance? Just this one time? Maximum is not the only way, okay?
Pump it to the brick! Pump it to the hard master! There's no other way! Glue style!
Glue style? Okay, there literally is no other way. The mixing desk is glued to maximum.
See? He pumps it to the hard master. It's hopeless. Because I'm afraid that something might happen. It's an unknown phenomenon. We can always turn it back up if there's a need.
Can't turn down the hardcore!
Of course it is.
Yeah! Permanent enlightenment! Ray of sound!
Never mind then. Let's get on with our project. I'm going to unmute the speakers on a count of 5. Everyone ready?
Egghead pumps his hand up in the air, waiting for the beat to drop.
Born ready.
Ready!
I'm ready if you two are detectives.
The lieutenant nods stoically. Not so stoically, his hand moves to the gun holster. Suddenly, your palms are sweaty. The church seems cold and large, somehow.
5. 4, 3, 2, 1. Mute disengaged.
No wind outside, no waves, no floorboards creaking. Total, continuous silence. This is unnatural. The woman looks around. In the silence, you see dust move on the floorboards. The driver of the speaker vibrates in the air and then stops. Plasterwork begins to crumble down the walls. In the silence, a low hum starts creeping up your spine. It's a song inside you, not in the speakers, not in the room. A great bass sigh in the basement of your mind. Slowly, it builds until the air around you starts to vibrate. It will devour everything. The floorboards, the glass, the streets and the people. Nothing will remain.
Guys, what's going on?
This fragile world is about to break.
It's getting louder.
In the basins, the water looks like it's boiling.
Hosiana! Mother of Mega!
In his mind, a tidal wave approaching from afar, swallowing entire coastlines on its way. Salvation.
The beauty and the beat! The future of dance! Planetary!
No, Egg! It's the window!
In the corner of your eye, the lieutenant steps aside, cautiously, his eyes searching for a possible evacuation route.
The window is going to come down. No, the roof!
Cracks appear on the stained glass window. Cracks run up the wooden pillars in the dark.
Come down to us! Love!
Below it, all the bass grows, like the jaws of a giant compressor gnawing on metal and wood. It does not sound benevolent at all. It's shaking the building's foundation. The floor twists. A great pulse arises in your flesh.
That's it. I'm muting it.
Oh! I want to feel the heat with somebody!
Shit! It doesn't stop. A seal? Have you?
Yes, I've turned it off. Andre, pull the compressor. The place is gonna come down.
Fuck! I can't shut it up. The signal's passed. It's not in here. It's...
In the mixing desk now, building into a positive feedback loop. This is it. A great roar. The vault of the roof twists above you. Glass shatters somewhere near the door. It's coming down. And then it stops. Totally and utterly. As if there never was a sound. Only your ears still ring from the shock. Everybody is staring at Egghead, holding a dangling cable in his hand. A black 3-pin connector.
Egg.
I pulled the plug. It was getting too hardcore.
You did good, Egg. Most of the place seems to be intact. Fucking hell. Programmer lady, tell me you were recording that.
4 years. 22 people. Millions of reals. All that time? This is what we were up against. Just erased it. Suliswolf isn't gonna believe this.
Yeah, but did you record it though? It was dope. I think we can use it.
Yes, Andre. I recorded it. Damn, I need to send some letters now.
Thank you all for doing this. Eggman, you too. And you, officer. I don't know what we've discovered, but I know what it sounds like now. That's a start.
It was very hard not to. I think you're right. There is something going on here. And you need to be very careful with it.
I promise, officer. We will not play it again. It was mathematical information from the anomaly, presented as a waveform. That's what it was technically. Theoretically, I have no idea. I've never even heard of anything like this.
A voice seems muffled in the silent church. It's your ears adjusting after the exposure.
Yes, our lead designer. And maybe some of the producers too. And some of the writers. If they're sober enough to open a transmission. They need to hear.
That it wasn't her fault. Or theirs.
They need to hear about this. Don't worry, I won't send the recording. Although I doubt they have the speakers to produce the frequency anyway. Stay here. I'm going to stay here with these lunatics. Send letters, maybe meet Suliswolf. Also devise further measurements.
I want you to know that's totally chill with us.
I don't care, but thank you anyway.
That's the best she can manage for Andre. It's quite a lot in truth. For her, at least.
Now, I have a theory to come up with. Some kind of preliminary explanation to all this. Or the letter will sound like I've lost my mind.
Yes, and we have to get back to stabilizing Martinez. Instead of demolishing it with loud bass noise of unknown origins.
You have an explanation for all this, somewhere deep in you. You just don't have the pieces yet. You don't know enough about the world, but that Joyce, if you knew all she knows, could put it together.
You're back. Good. What can I help you with? Oh? A takeover? If they're taking it...
Green livery, changing into red, blot by blot. Like a cancer of the blood, metastasizing.
Then we're talking about a war. Evrart needs to let me into the harbor at once. We need to talk about this. They most certainly are not. Crenell has 1,000 men on their payroll. The next batch will be a platoon of 20 men and a gunship.
I've seen the Union's forces. They are better organized than these mercenaries. They also have the support of the people of Revachol West. It will take more than Crenell to wipe them out. Wild Pines will need to send more and better equipped men. Make no mistake, ma'am. I am sure you have the money. The question is, how many years and how many lives are you willing to sacrifice?
What do you suggest I do? Everything affects the decision-making process, Detective.
Officer?
For once, I don't seem to know what the right thing to do is.
Of course. Your job is to clean up after them. And it looks like there will be a lot of cleaning to be done in the near future. What will I do?
Her arms fall to her sides. Her spine relaxes.
Did I ever tell you how they discovered this Isola? During our reality lowdown. It may be the only break we've ever caught as a species. The last one for 400 years. The nations who colonized this Isola called theirs Muindi, the world. It was all they knew, all they thought would be. That there would be something more was a gamble, akin to another world, or life after death. The Pale was thought to be impregnable, perpetual. Irene la Navigateur, the Queen of Suren, sent 8 expeditions, one after the other, into the mass at the edge of the world. 5 of the crews did not return. 2 did, but had lost their minds.
Each of those expeditions would have been led by an admiral. Sounds like a purge. Like she was purging her political rivals.
There was no precedent for such an undertaking. People thought she was punishing the admirals, or had gone mad, or both. Until after years of trial and error, and the development of a strict psychological regime imitating the creation process of poetry.
Called Volta Doma, or Return from the Sea.
The 8th expedition returned sane and intact. They told of a new continent of matter. They told the Queen and her counselor, Dolores Day, that the Pale had begun to condense, day after day, hour after hour, minute after minute, slowly raining down until it formed a vast ocean.
The air is cold and scented with petrichor. There are rain circles on water all around. Humidity crawls up your back like a piano trill. So does the lieutenant. His mouth is slightly open as he looks to the sky. The droplets feel warm, like spring rain.
The phenomenon has never again been encountered. For a time, the crew thought they were experiencing a hallucination. The mass hand proclaimed, "Lancielinde, Lancielinde," the signal to wake up. But they could not. They were sane and conscious, as islands began to appear on the horizon. There are 78,000 uninhabited islands in the Insulindian archipelago, officer. The freckled face of God.
You've thought it 1,000,000 times.
A total shift in human comprehension of reality. On the second day, a great skua was shot down above the flagship Lysergique. The bird was preserved and brought back, along with pollen. 4 years later, the Queen's Counsellor was proclaimed Her Innocence Dolores Day, the elected world spirit. The age of humanism, internationalism, and parliamentary rule followed. We were high. On Caillou. The Pebble. The largest of the fertile, uninhabited islands of the northeast Insulindian archipelago. 4 centuries and 2 revolutions later. The first living, autonomous organism. Proof of reality. It's the symbol of Insulinde, detective. The coat of arms of the suzerain and the wings on the crest of the commune. In your defense, it is a nasty creature who plucks food from the throats of lesser birds. Yet much like Revachol, it is also magnificent and rare. Imagine the suzerain of seagulls.
There was a sting in your heart at the mention before, when she said its name.
The nations of Mundi proceeded to discover 5 more Isolae. Or they discovered us. All in the rush of the great inter-Islary reconnection. But these others weren't uninhabited. We had to kill people there. Wipe out indigenous populations. Gunboat economies. Or they came to do the same for us. Or had done to each other. But here, there was no one but the Skua, the Liliat Sea, and the Blood Beach, and the River Esperance. It was the new world. The Mondials used it to amass the greatest concentration of wealth mankind has ever seen. Revachol, the suzerain, revolution, poverty, and the mercurial rise of capitalism. It is. Soon it will be spring and everything will blossom.
The gangs will run wild, jacking motor carriages, ferrying amphetamines through Coal City. Spring is tough in Revachol.
I will surrender Terminal B to the Union.
She puts her hand in the rain. She's silent for a second.
We will see.
It is well within her authority. It's been clear for some time that this woman is more than she lets on.
Ma'am, this may well unravel property law this side of the river. If that occurs, we may never see the end of this kind of confrontation. The next time there will be 2 strikes, then 4, then 100.
What happens will happen. The age of capital has only begun. I will talk to my employers in person. We will amputate and cauterize Martinez. If you handle the situation on the ground.
There are no employers. She's a member of the board, probably a partner.
You are the citizens' militia. There are no superiors.
That's right, detective. And next time, you should confer with them before you go setting events in motion.
Despite his words, he's not really sure whether to be annoyed with you or not. Events are already in motion. Whether your actions accelerated or momentarily retarded their progress, even the lieutenant cannot really say.
I have not deceived you. I told you exactly who I was. Rejoice Layton. Yes, Mr. Clare has a 2-month head start. I can't let it grow any bigger. And I've exhausted all my options from here. Keep the peace, and I will keep my end of the bargain.
How far along is Crenell's investigation?
A confrontation is imminent. They have followed in your footsteps. As your investigation reaches a climax, so does theirs. They are your shadow. Arm yourselves. Armor yourselves. Protect their targets. Violence may be unavoidable, but we can limit the casualties. Soon. I do not know precisely. They have cut off all communication, you see. They know I've been feeding you information. One last thing, Lieutenant Dubois. I've given the matter much thought and come to this conclusion. You're not an amnesiac. You're insane. I know, because I, too, am insane. I just hide my illness better. And I'm rich. No, detective. No one's as insane as you.
Don't worry, madame. I am very sane.
I'm overexposed, baby. My travels take me through the Pale dozens of times a year. I've got the longing. And I've got it bad.
She would die to return to it. The pale, the past, anything one can return to.
The same strict psychological regimen the 8th Admiral developed when he crossed the Pale and discovered this Isola, the Volta do Mar. It's used by inter-Easlary travelers and other troubled souls, even to this day.
You could use a little of it yourself.
Watch out for yourselves. They will strike soon.
The lieutenant watches her boat grow smaller on the bay, its white sails fluttering. With worry in his eyes, he does not know if it was the right thing to do, but he doesn't say anything. You wonder what Everard has to say about this. Slowly, the sails turn grey-blue as more oxygen gets between you. The litany of contact Mike. 5,000 to 1 rank outsider. No one saw it coming. The mantle of a game changer demands intangible qualities. Fights are not won. You're thinking instead of doing detective work right now. Fights are made, blow by blow. Let's take it, Mike to the Mikey. Some low-intensity part of you has entered a sports cliché-driven fugue state, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. Also, Mike knew what it took to win. He just wanted it more. Homosexual underground. Maybe you should stop obsessing about your own and other people's sexuality. Feels like it's about time to do that. You thought about this for 8 hours? Not only should you stop, you should tell Kim you've stopped obsessing about other people's sexuality too. I'm sure he'd appreciate it. Unless you already got him killed because you were obsessing about your sexuality. There's no way of telling from within your brain. But for your own sake, please say you didn't.
Yes? Yes. I don't know what to say. Perhaps, I'm not really sure about this turn of events. I think the mutton chops might have been a better idea. They sort of seem to cover up some of the...
Yeah, damage. He means damage.
Either way, good on you. You were saying?